Hi there, I'm Camilla Tominey, Associate Editor of the Telegraph here at the Conservative Party Conference in Birmingham. As you can see, conference is going on around me. Lots of people wonder, what's it all about? What is a conference? Okay, well, it's broken into different parts. You've got stands like this from people like the Alcohol Health Alliance or the Conservative Councillors Association, who are literally here in a lobbying role. They want to get the attention of ministers and MPs to further their own causes. You've then got the main stage, so all of the main cabinet ministers, including Liz Truss, of course, who's speaking on Wednesday, will be speaking on there, and the whole time that is relayed onto the conference floor. You've also got all around here, so in lots of little rooms around here and in all of the local hotels, other fringe events going on. And that could be on anything and everything from young people and how they are getting opportunities in society to Kwasi Kwarteng's budget being discussed. You've also got a load of think tents outside, and they're from main think tanks like the Taxpayers Alliance, who, funny enough, quite like Kwasi Kwarteng's budget, Policy Exchange. All of the major players are all here, and they'll host events on their stages with key figures from all of these different sectors so that there can be some audience participation. A lot of the delegates here, they actually want to have the FaceTime with the government ministers. They want to lobby them directly, but they also want to hear what they've got to say. So just as we had with Labour last week in Liverpool, this is basically a major talking shop. It's almost like a giant think tent with loads of conversations going on behind the scenes. One thing I've noted, I think there's more vocal opposition to this conference taking place here than I've heard in recent years. Lots of banging of drums going on outside, lots of opposition to the mini-budget, lots of shouts of fascist and Tory scum and you should be ashamed of yourself, which is always pleasant when you first arrived at work. Now, why is it quite controversial, this conference? It probably goes without saying, it's because of Liz Truss's mini-budget. I mean, she's gone on the airwaves this morning and justified it and justified that controversial 45% tax rate, although she's sort of blamed it on the Chancellor, saying he didn't put it before Cabinet, he just went with it himself, which is an interesting approach to take. Some people think that she's thrown Kwasi under a bus. But they're the main protagonists people will want to be hearing from here, the Chancellor and the Prime Minister, because we're already hearing, and it's ever the case in Tory circles, sort of talk of a mini-Tory rebellion. Michael Gove has been on the telly today saying he might oppose the 45% tax rate. So Liz Truss has only been in office a matter of weeks, and there's a rebellion already being mounted against her. But then the Tory party does have this extraordinary habit of eating itself at times. So when we look at this main stage, and Liz Truss appears on it in 3 days' time, she's going to give her keynote speech, and so much is riding on it. I mean, there's always a lot riding on a prime ministerial speech, especially when it's her first. But she's here in the sort of fog of controversy. There are people protesting outside. The Tory party is split over this mini-budget. And a lot of the criticism has been not necessarily some of the details. People understand this idea of changing the way that the economy is run, making these supply-side reforms to try and grow the growth pie. But what they're saying is, Truss, your communications have been terrible. You haven't set out properly your Conservative vision. So just as we had Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, accused last week of coming out with too many sound bites and not enough substance, we're going to need Liz Truss to say why she's making the pie like this, how she's going to grow it, and show us all of the ingredients. We can't just have her coming out with the stock phrases. She is going to absolutely have to set out her Conservative vision on Wednesday. Otherwise, people are going to say, look, you're not giving the public, a public that is increasingly turning against the Conservatives. Look at the polling. In some polls, 33 points behind Labour. You have got to make the argument for the alternative, because at the moment, Labour are winning the argument, social media is winning the argument, the Conservatives have lost the argument on Twitter. The question is, have they lost it on the streets of Britain? And that is why it's so important that the Prime Minister performs well on Wednesday.